Let's start. Okay, so we're having this call regarding what's happening around the world, what's happening with Startup Grind. We have some cool projects coming out. As you can see, we've got 2 new team members on the call. So let's start with the 2 new team members. The first 2 is we've got Bruce and Yella. So there we go, they're waving. That's it. They're actually in my office. You can see I'm not here. There we go. So they brand new people that are joining with us. As you've seen in the email we sent out at the end of last month, Demetrius is going to be working, doing just the activations and the onboarding of chapters, and then from that point onwards it's going to be handed over to Bruce and Yella to run the whole of Europe and Africa and Middle East. So they're going to be the new community managers for that area. So Demetrius is going to be working for another company, but he's still going to be working for us, bringing onboarding and bringing in new chapters for us, which is we're quite excited about. So he's still part of the team, but the day-to-day, the communications, the emails that go to Ford, etc. If you guys have any questions, anything, these are the 2 guys that we'll be working with. Okay, Bruce will also be working with a little bit with Christy in America. Okay, so that's the 2 new members. There we go. And then one thing that they are busy working on, Bruce is busy working on this thing called Facebook. I'm calling it Facebook Connect. It's just us connecting to Facebook. So Bruce is going to tell you a bit more. Hey, David, welcome. Okay, cool. Go for it, Bruce.
Hi, guys. I'm going to shout a bit so everyone can hear me because the mic's on that side of the office. So one of our first jobs is just basically going through all the chapters, getting to know you guys before actually getting to know you guys. And one of our projects is just to basically connect all of the individual chapter Facebook pages to the Global Startup Grind account. So you'll get an email with details later, but basically all that matters is we're going to send you a link to ask you to basically share admin rights with Startup Grind Global. And we just, you'll see the link, you'll get a little email, you'll see it when you actually log into the page. But slowly but surely, we're going to start sending these out to all of the different chapters. Don't worry, it is us. All you need to do, please, is just give us the access. And all it lets us do is it basically gives us admin control over the Facebook pages. So if you guys get a new director or co-director, or you want to move, anything like that, then we've still got control over that account, and we can assign it to new people and so on and so forth. So you guys are going to be getting those emails soon, and you will see, some of you would probably already see some of those requests. If you do see the request already, please go ahead and just say yes. Otherwise, wait for the email with all the details. Thanks, guys.
Okay, you guys got that. So there are some steps on how to do that, and we'll be emailing you guys all about that as we do it along. Okay, so that's a Facebook thing. As you guys know, we've got the Startup Grind Female Founders Month. Can everybody raise their hand who has an event for SG Women in May already lined up? Okay, almost everybody. This is exciting. Francisco's like, we're still organizing. Okay.
Die events waar we die nog een keer naar de eigen.
Okay, no, that's good. Hey, Augustine's just joined. Hey, Augustine. So, yeah, if you guys can get your females up, if you guys have any problems with finding a good female speaker or finding a venue or anything like that, please let me know. Maybe we as HQ can speak to somebody in the area, or maybe somebody else. Chat on the Slack team. One of the things I would love for you guys to do as a community, speaking about Slack, is if you guys see somebody asking a question on Slack, feel free to reply. If you know the answer, it might not be the right answer, it doesn't matter. If you see the answer, reply to them. Go, yeah, I think so, or give a thumbs up, or I'll be there, or something. Just check those communications. Let's start helping each other out on Slack and not relying on us as a community team to do that. I know that, who was it the other day? Was doing some really cool. I know Sundust posted some cool stuff on there the other day. It's really great when everybody as a community starts chatting with each other and helping each other out. And then we can also help each other out with Startup Grind Female Founders Month or SG Women Month. So yeah, if you have any problems, please do reach out to us. Yes, Denise.
Okay, so I have got the possibility of doing a little bit of a different structure to be able to scale this event. So who do I need to email to make sure that I run through the details and everything's okay, kind of thing?
Okay, well, let's quickly chat about that for 5 seconds. What is the structure that you want to do?
Well, the idea, because, you know, there's a really prominent group called Girls in Tech that exists in Gibraltar. So we want to partner our events and basically make a bigger one. It's so relevant. So there would be probably more than one speaker. Maybe there's going to be 3 and they want a panel. So it's going to be a slightly different format, but I'll stay on the fireside chat.
Still only, is it one panel discussion, or is it like multiple events?
No, it will be one panel discussion. It's just that we'll be doing our events together, and they want to bring some of their speakers, and obviously I want to bring maybe a couple of female speakers. So I was just wondering if I need to run that through somebody to make sure that the format.
Yeah, please email Ford. Please email Ford at Solid Ground, and then we'll get back to you. But I'm glad you brought this up, because it's good to tell everybody what's going on, because it's a question we get asked quite a bit by the community. So the first thing is, everybody is allowed to have one panel discussion a year. Okay, so if you want to run a panel discussion, you can. Please email Ford, and then we will activate the panel discussion event type for your chapter. Okay, but you can only run at the moment, you can only run one a year. So if you do one with SG Women, then that's your panel discussion for the year. Okay. The second thing is, we are unfortunately, as per our terms, not allowed to co-host events. So you can't co-brand, you can't say Startup Grind and so is bringing you an event. However, you can have Startup Grind and your panel discussion like Denise is doing, and you can have that and market that on your event. And the other person can say so-and-so and Startup Grind on their event pages. You understand? And then you guys can market your event separately, but it's actually the same event. Okay? But on our Startup Grind website, it has to just be Startup Grind hosts this amazing panel discussion with this amazing female group, you know, the speakers, or talk about, just give it a nice subject line. And you can't have their company's name in the subject line unless they are the speaker. Does that make sense?
So, but I can have their logo as a partner, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. You can have the logo, you can even, in this description, you can say we are partnering with so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. It's just that we don't allow headline sponsorship. That's the only thing. But everything else is free game. Okay, so there's your answer for you. But please do email us so that we can keep track and record on it. Okay. Okay, so that's a very good question. Thank you very much, Denise. So if you guys are doing a panel discussion, please do let us know so that we can, you know, make the right, so we can activate the thing for you and help you with that. Okay. This brings us to the next thing, which is, of course, you know, you've seen that channel in Slack called What is Startup Grind? So we're busy looking and re-looking and thinking about Startup Grind, where we're going with Startup Grind, what's happening. It's a question that comes up all the time. One of them is that, one of the things is that with the panel discussion, oh, sorry. Ooh, it's been a long day. All right, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, a real long day. Okay, so we are looking at where Startup Grind is going, and we are looking at possibly doing workshops or panel discussions, or, you know, a lot of different formats within Startup Grind. So over the next few months, and it's going to take a while, because you have to really make sure that when we change or do anything, we make the right decisions. Okay, I'm not saying we're doing workshops. I'm not saying we're doing panel discussions or anything else. I'm just saying that we are looking at it, because we are hearing you guys as the community talking about this more and more and wanting this more and more. So we have to find a model that keeps in line with who we are as Startup Grind and what our value proposition is as Startup Grind and how we fit in the different markets. Okay, because in some markets workshops don't work. In other markets only workshops work. So we have to make this work for the entire world. There's a lot of thinking and strategizing and stuff. We'll be reaching out over the next few months on that. Okay. I see Finn is on the call. Finn, can you give us an update on how things are going with the symposium, and also what is the Symposium for Europe, etc., etc.?
Yeah, sure. Morning, everyone, or afternoon, early morning, depending on what time zone you're in. So the Startup Grind Nation Symposium is going to be a morning event. The idea behind it is for it to almost kind of replace what we do at Global, which is the directors retreat. But this will be an opportunity for chapter directors to interact with enterprise and economic development agency representatives or ambassadors from their respective countries. So we're going to have 3 presenting countries. So far, I guess this is subject to the contract being signed and finalized. We've got Georgia. Colin's done a great job with regards to that. We are therefore looking for 2 remaining countries. I know there are a couple in the pipeline. I think Chris is in discussions with Australia. Denise and I have exchanged a couple of emails to have discussions with Gibraltar, or more specifically, Gibraltar Stock Exchange. So whilst they're not necessarily government owned, they've got sort of close ties to Gibraltar Finance. So we're going to try and see if we can do something as a collaborative event with them. So if you guys, any directors on the call, are keen to have their country represented, please feel free to drop me an email, finn@startupgrind.com. We can set up a call, and I can kind of just walk you through some of the talking points we're going through and some of the packages. There's a deck that is available. Happy to forward that across to you. The event is on the 14th of June. So the day after Startup Grind Europe. It's in London. It's at Google's campus, London space. So there, which is in Shoreditch. Really, really cool place that will be hosting an event in the morning from, we need to finalize the core agenda, but it'll be probably from about 10 a.m. till about lunchtime-ish. And yeah, those are the main things.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Finn. All right. So the really cool part about this is that we've done Directors Day every year after Global and after or before Europe. So this year we're going to be doing this thing with the country ambassadors. It's our Directors Day with a slightly different format, as in we're going to connect you with some really great countries and some startups and help you guys connect with your ambassadors in your local countries. This is also, obviously, as Finn said, he has got a deck that he can send to you guys if you're interested in talking to your ambassadors or consulates in your countries. Or maybe you've got an investment program that's running in your program. I know a lot of countries are running startup investments kind of, or invest in my country kind of program. Okay, so quite excited about that one. And as you said, it is at Google Campus, so that's really cool. Okay, the next thing on our topic. Any questions on this? Let's stop up there. Any questions? Yes, Augustine, let me unmute you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. We can hear you.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know, Finn, but approximately at the same time, I don't know how to call it. Some kind of conference is happening in Sofia, Bulgaria. Okay. That is connecting local startup ecosystem leaders with their own governments. And they're pushing this initiative because from this year, I think Bulgaria is chairing the European Commission, something like that. Basically, it's happening at the same time, only in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Okay, wow, that's really interesting. Didn't know about that. Is it so? It's happening on the 14th of June, is it?
I think 15th.
15th, right? Okay.
Chances that people are going to London or Sofia, well, actually, like 50% that they're not going to either places, but
yeah. One of the things we need to remember is the timing of Startup Grind Europe is very purposeful. In that week is London Tech Week, which has become absolutely massive, and therefore there are loads of events that happen right through from Monday through till Friday. So strategically, our thinking was, not only Startup Grind Europe that has happened for the last 2 years during London Tech Week. So not only are we able to attract many of the speakers that are in town for London Tech Week, but in addition to that, a number of the attendees that are there. And, London's a big city, lots of embassies and consulates that are in town. So the goal, if I'm honest with this event, is not supposed to be this huge, massive thing of hundreds and hundreds of people. We want to try and keep it somewhat exclusive, may be the wrong word to use, but we want to try and keep it as intimate as possible to allow us to have really deep and engaging conversations with sort of government agencies, government representatives, We're trying to get a few international trade bodies to attend as well, because there are a lot of, you know, in the entrepreneurship space, there are a lot of programs, grants, activities that happen on the sort of, you know, VC stage or accelerators, incubators, etc. A lot of governments have kind of realized, and this has been a trend that's been going on for the last few years, a lot of governments have realized that, oh my goodness, you know, entrepreneurship is a massive economic driver. We should be doing something about it. And I think for us as Startup Grind, as a global organization in, you know, over 350 cities around the world, we're very, very well placed to leverage that and almost as individual directors within our cities or countries as a whole, become the main go-to individuals, thought leaders in this particular space. And that's why we want to kind of build up this nation symposium around that.
Cool. Thanks for the additional explanation.
Cool.
I have a quick question.
Go for it,
Aside
Denise.
from, yeah, thanks. Aside from the people who are supporting the event or who are going to be involved, who's the target audience? Are people coming in from outside? Because I think it's something that I've been asked, certainly, when talking about it, because people who might be thinking about it want to know who else is going to be there, basically.
That's a good
Okay,
question.
so the way I've been positioning it to people is twofold. If they are a presenting country, right? If they're a presenting country, they're going to benefit from both having a presence at Startup Grind Europe, which is the event that is open to the public on the 13th, the all-day event, so they'll have access to that. If they are one of the three countries, Carly has been kind of gracious enough to say they'll also be able to exhibit on the day. So Georgia is going to have an exhibition space, so there'll be exhibition space for another 2 countries. However, they do need to move quickly on that because, of course, things need to go to print. On the 14th, the morning event is exclusively just for directors, ambassadors, enterprise and economic development agency representatives. Now, of course, if you're a presenting country, so if you're Georgia said, hey, we'd love to have 2 or 3 of our startups come along to the event. We're not necessarily going to say no, but being mindful that we are limited by capacity at the venue that we're space. So that event is not open to Joe Blogs. It's not open to the general public. We're not going to be marketing it that way. However, if you're a presenting country, you will be able to invite, you know, a handful of companies, startup companies from your country at the event to meet the other directors.
Okay, does it answer the question?
Yes. Hi. So I understand from Finn. Hi, Finn. I understand that for the 14th,
Wow.
I might. I understand it's directors only. So if we have someone from our team in Israel coming with us, is not allowed to come to the event on the 14th, right?
I guess we'll need to confirm that because it'll be down to capacity. I don't know, G, do we have any confirmation of what?
If they are a team member, an official team member, so they've gone through our training and onboarding process, and they're in our system, then they are allowed to come. It's only directors, co-directors, and one team member from your team. That makes sense.
I don't hear you very well. So one team member from our team will be able to join us?
Yes, yeah.
Also for the 13th?
Yes, for the third. So for Startup Grind Europe, everybody gets 3 tickets, free tickets, three free tickets for you and your team. So it'll be you as a director, a co-director, and a team member, or 2 co-directors and a team member, or 2 team members and a director, whatever. So you get 3 per director, and then you get another 3, which are £60 tickets for really important people in your community, which you can give to people in your community. Please don't share on social media, but the further people, so you get 6 tickets. Of those 3 that are coming of your team, they can also, if they come to the on the 13th, they can also come to the 14th. But please, they have to RSVP. Very important. I will be sending out RSVPs later this month. If you don't RSVP, you don't get in. That's it. You're very limited on capacity. Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Very important.
Hello, another question.
Yes,
So
August.
what's the deadline to claim the 3 director tickets?
It would be about a week or two before the conference.
But here's Marian, I'm jumping in. But you know, you guys, if you know you're coming, you should definitely book the tickets, book the flights, because we get this every year. People just wake up and say, okay, I want to go, but then the tickets for the flight is too expensive. You're gonna be making it much easier for yourselves if you just look at the flights, book it now. We have 2 months to go. It's still a fairly good price. Book those tickets and just come, because Ram will tell you it's worth it, right?
Hi.
Of all people he knows.
Yeah, I understand
sure.
what you mean. My problem was that for the director tickets, you have to get all 3 at once, and to get all 3 at once, you have to give all the names and everything at once.
No. When you go there, you can choose up to 3 tickets. When you go to that link, you can choose up to 3. So you can choose one at a time if you want to. Or have you set it at 3? Okay, Augustine, thank you. I'll look into it. I'll check the system. Maybe we set it at a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 3. I'll change that to a minimum.
Yeah, because someone always wants to go, but then doesn't want to the last, and the ticket is already spent for him, you know?
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'll look into it and I'll come back to you, Augustine. We just have to make sure that we get everybody getting in. But please do buy those tickets super soon so we know who you are. Also, you as a director do not buy a ticket. I don't want to say this, but we're not going to let you in. I mean, obviously we will, but please buy your tickets, guys, please. It allows you to get your director tags and all this stuff. Otherwise, you're going to be some other company name and we don't know who's a director and who's not. It gets very confusing. If you're a director, please buy a director ticket. Okay. Even like Finn and Marion, I mean, Marion organizing the events, that's a different story, but Finn, we know you, but we won't let you in, Finn. I'm just joking. Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on to the next agenda. The startup program. The startup program is still active. So if you have any startups or VCs, this is actually a great way to connect with your VCs in your community. So what I do every year is I send an email to all my VCs. I've got like a little streak system which I email them all. I go, hi so and so, you know, great connecting, or nice seeing you at the last event, or whenever you last you saw them, or interact, or great on your last exit, or acquire, or whatever. Just to let you know, if you do have any startups that want to come to our startup grind, startup program, we are still accepting applications. Here's the link. We'd love to see you here. There's also, if you contact me if you're very interested in getting a special discounted ticket to the conference. Okay. And this way you're giving value to your investors. And it's kind of giving back to them. And it's also like reminding them about Startup Grind. And it creates a really nice relationship with your investors in your country. So use the Startup Grind program and the Startup Grind Europe conference as a way to connect and build better relations with the investors in your area. It also sets you apart from everybody else because you have these relationships with your investors. I'm pretty sure most of you that have been hosting an event for more than a year or two have already had 1 or 2 investors on your stage, so you've got relationships with these guys. If you haven't, please do get an investor on your stage. Startups love hearing from them. They're great crowd drawers. So send them an email reminding them this, we've got the startup program, they can apply. The other thing about the startup program is that you as a chapter director, if you put your name or sponsor a startup that comes in, then TD will actually discount the ticket's price. It's not a hell of a mess, it's like a 10% discount or 20% discount, but it's still a discount and makes it more affordable for the startups to come to Startup Grind Europe. And to apply, please go to startupgrind.com/startup. As simple as that. All the information is there. They can apply for the European conference. I think it's just over or just under $2,000. I think it's just over $2,000, but with your chapter director special, it's just under $2,000 for them as their team. So that gives them 4 tickets. It's the price of basically 4 tickets to the conference. Okay. They get space, they get introduced to investors, they get a lot of value for the startup. They get connected with over 2,000 people that will be at the conference. It's a really, really great way to activate and get your community to come, getting startups interested. So please do help market that possibility. Okay, so the startup program. Any questions about the startup program? Okay.
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
So, hi everyone, my name is Ariana. I'm the co-director of Kigali, and it's the first time I'm joining a meeting, so nice to see all of you. So actually I wanted to ask, what exactly is the startup program? Like, after the exhibition and after the conference is over, what happens to these startups? We have some startups that are interested to apply.
Mm-hmm.
We have been talking with them. They should apply like this week or next week, but I kind of owe them a bit more information about what happens next. So yeah.
Okay. So firstly, you've got a really good internet in Rwanda. So I don't know how you're managing to get that right. So well done. So
Convention center.
Ah, there we go.
The only and best internet in the country. This is my download spot.
That makes sense. That makes sense. It's almost better internet in South Africa. Okay, so with the startup program, they get introduced to investors. They also get access to tools for the program. For example, they get access to Google the Google Cloud. If they're running a Google Cloud program, they get up to 100,000 credits. Anybody can get that, but it's part of the program. Also, if you go to startupgrind.com/start, which is what you're going to do right now, just get the right link here. You can see it gives a lot more information about what's happening on the day and a little bit of follow-up. So 2 of the biggest things that happen after the conference, the one is that they it's to be published. They can, if they want to. If they write a really good objective article, they can get published on our website. So it gives them credibility and gets them into the news a bit. The second thing is that, sorry, start up. It's the wrong page. The second thing is that they also are able to I'm trying to think now, what is the second thing? Yeah, that's the reading thing, but also the potential of being introduced to some investors at the conference. That's happening at the conference. And then another follow-up on that is the fact that they can say, and they can use Startup Grind, say, I was at this conference. We were picked as one of the top startup programs. Understand? So it's really coming from them pushing the fact that they were at this conference. They were chosen to be one of the top 50 chapters or one of the top 100 startups for the Startup Grind program. And I've seen a lot of startups just using that fact to allow them to get credibility in the marketplace, which makes investors talk to them and puts them onto a global scale, if that makes sense. So it's using that plus the news article, plus everybody that they met at the conference, following up with all their leads. That's where the real power lies in. We don't do much more after that. You, as your chapter, you can push the agenda more and highlight them on your stage, or you can give them more value if you want to. But that's kind of, it's a hustle, it's a startup. So at the end of the day, it's the guys that hustle, that work more and use these opportunities and leverage it. They're the ones that are successful with this program. Okay. But yeah, as I say, everything is listed on the things. They get a quick fire pitch on the stage. They get pitch training. Let me share my screen here quickly with you. You guys can see what I'm talking about. There we go. Can you guys see that? Okay, so you get the quick fire pitch on stage, the pitch training, get branding at the conference, get connections to investors, you get some social media follow-up, mentions in the newsletter, also a panelist potential slot in the startup court, which we do in the breakout sessions. And then, yeah, so that's what they will get. And then obviously they can use this to better accelerate and give credibility to their startup. Because one of the biggest problems is not having that credibility as a startup. That's one of the biggest problems when you're trying to talk to investors and stuff. Okay, so you can just go here to startupground.com/startup, and they can apply for it.
Yeah, maybe a few points on this. I think the bigged advantage of this program is that they get to meet investors, because many startups, they want to have get some funding. But what TD and the team is doing is they help the startups meet interesting investors. They also get some stage time, so they get to pitch on stage. But I think the most underestimated and probably one of the most powerful ways of getting value from the conference is that they get to see us. You know, we have so many directors all around the world, startup directors, and you know, companies like Slido, for example, 2 months after they met us, they were on 3 new continents because of Startup Grind. And this is something which is very powerful, and we should be using more of that, because these startups, they get to meet the directors. And you know, if you're bringing some startups from Rwanda to the conference, you can introduce them in person to somebody from other cities like us, you know, from Europe, from the US, from South America, from Asia, and so on. And this is very powerful, because these personal relationships are going way beyond than just attending a conference. And these startups get a lot of value from that. So it's not just the funding and meeting investors and having a stage time and being able to present at the conference. It's also meeting us as a network of people which is all around the world. That's very powerful.
Absolutely, thank you. Thanks, Marian. So just so everybody knows, that's Marian. He's the chapter director for London, and he pretty much organizes this conference with us at HQ. I see Shachar is finally on the line. He's driving around.
Hey.
Hey guys, I'm out of mute. I'm on my way. I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm so quiet. I'm so sorry that you can't hear me.
It's all good, Shahar. All good. We'll chat to you in London. All right. Okay. Cool. So, Female Founders Month coming up in May. We're really excited about that. If you guys go to Startup Grind, if you search on the Startup Grind, I'll also drop it into Slack. There's a page where we've got a dedicated page just for all the SG Women events that are happening. You'll see that I'm running it through Airtable, so it's listing all the chapters nicely with the pictures and everything. If your city is not there, please let me know. I'm using Zapier to automate the program, but it doesn't always pick up the Gmail labels 100%, and there's a few little kinks in it. And also, because it's a manual process of me adding it, it can take a day or 2 before your event does arrive on that page. But if you don't see it after 2 or 3 days, please drop me a message going, "Gee, my event, I've got a Female Founders event, why is it not on that page?" Okay, that's a page we're sharing with Comcast and all our sponsors, so it's really putting your city in the spotlight big time. Okay, so please do keep an eye on that. That's for SG Women. SGEurope, we're looking really forward to seeing you guys all there. We literally have less than 1 month before it happens. The 13th of June, it's now the 18th of April. Oh wait, June is month and a half. So it's almost 2 months, okay. Almost 2 months away. So if you are very good with sales and you want to sell a sponsorship, please contact me. We do have a nice pitch deck that you can give to sponsors that might want to sponsor Startup Grind Europe. If that is the case, there are commission structures as well. So you can get up to 5% or 10% of the actual sponsorship amount that can come back to you. Okay, just to help incentivize and help you guys sell this thing. So please do reach out to us if you want to sell, or if you have connections or companies that want to sponsor Startup Grind Europe. And we're not organizing any accommodation. We don't have any official prices or cheap hotels or anything. I know Marian, I think do you have 1 or 2 hotels that have got discounts for our directors or not?
What kind of discounts do you mean?
Like a 5% or 10% on accommodation for hotels.
Yes, so on this one, Tim is dealing with it, and we're gonna send the link. How can we share the link to the accommodation? He's actually negotiating a big discount from one of the big chains, luxury hotels, but a very cheap price for the whole group.
Okay. Okay. So we will be sending information on that. Thanks, Mary. We'll be sending it out via email and Slack. So guys, just keep your eye on Slack. My advice on Slack, I know there's a lot of chatter and a lot of conversation, but just dump in every day before bed or when you wake up in the morning, and just scroll through the conversations that's happening and scroll one or two conversations up or one, because a lot of times you miss literally one or two conversations up, you miss what's being said. So just scroll back a little bit and then just read through all the different channels. Just check every day and it won't be a lot of work. If you check once a week, it's impossible. It'll take you 2-3 hours to read through all the communications that's going on in Slack. Okay, most of the communications will be in Slack, because that's the easiest way to get hold of you guys. And then once a month or once every now and again, we'll send an email with information as well. So keep your eye out. There's a question coming up here. Just send me an email on that, Mariam. Okay. So Mariam, please send Ariana an email about that. We will do that. Symposium, as you guys know, get your get your countries involved. That'll be great. Facebook, we will be sending out requests to manage your Facebook pages. Please do accept those requests so we can have them all as a nice bundle. I'm busy working on a way that we can highlight all these Facebook pages on one page or one something. So it'd be quite nice to have all your pages in the fold. And then we've got the startup program, which we have discussed. So please do. It is still open. We are still accepting applications, but the deadline is running out fast. I think the 18th of May is the deadline. So after the 18th of May, we won't be able to accept any more applications for the startup program. Okay. So we've got exactly 1 month to get startups in for that. Yeah, we still have quite a few spots left open, so please send your startups. Okay, yes, Bruce.
One last thing, just touching on that Facebook item again. Could I also please ask you guys, we will send out an email, if you could log into the Bevy dashboard and just update your chapters page. If your social details have changed in any way, if you've got a new Twitter or anything like that, please just keep that up to date. We've just done an audit of everything that's currently there, so that we've got, what's currently on your page, we've got a list of. But if there's anything that's changed recently in terms of your social links, please update it in the Bevy dashboard, and then just let us know, or just update it so we can check it again. That'll be a great help. Thank you.
Okay, you guys got that. Everybody, there we go. Denise has got it. All right. Okay, any other questions? That's open time for some questions. Anything that you guys are struggling with or want to know about? Yes, Augustine.
Well, it's not related to the Startup Europe conference, but what's going on with the Startup Grind University?
So, okay, so we have launched Startup Grind U and Startup Grind X, as you guys know. Startup Grind X is for smaller cities, less than 300. Startup Grind U is for universities. So one thing, we're in about 20 Startup Grind universities at the moment, but we're finding that with students, as you guys know, students are very much from one event to the next exam driven. So when there's exams and when there's holiday breaks, etc., nothing's happening. So it's quite challenging to manage these chapters. So we're looking at different ways of how we could manage Startup Grind U. But we have got 20, we've got about 5 or 6 that have already hosted an event or busy setting up an event, etc. But they're not as active as what we would like. One of the ideas that, maybe I could discuss this with you guys, because you're talking it internally, but it's great to chat with you guys, having you on the call. One of the ideas is that we're thinking of only hosting Startup Grind U's in cities where there are startup grinds. So, for example, if Francesco has a university near him, he will then be able to support that chapter leader, and he'll also be able to send his speakers to that university to speak. And this way, it'll make it easier for these university students who don't have any connections to be able to get really good speakers on their stage, and it makes it really easy to have an event. The nice thing about that is that I've spoken to a lot of my past speakers, and they're all very excited to talk to universities and to students. They're passionate about helping the student entrepreneurs. And then to help streamline that process, it would be that the student that runs the chapter in SGU has to get a letter from their chapter director in that city saying that, yes, you know, like an endorsement from you as a chapter director. That's one of the ideas we're talking about. I don't know if you guys have, I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any ideas or thoughts or suggestions around managing startup grant universities or experience with this?
Yes, hi again. So, for example, for the startup grind, you know, you need over 300,000 people to have it in a city. So basically, it's only Zagreb in my country, no other city. But there's like 5 or 6 cities that have less that population, but have their own universities. So I can have basically 6 startup grind U and 1 startup grind. I don't know, maybe 1 startup grind X also in Split, but
yeah. So the university, you as a chapter director, because you're not in the university, you can't run that university chapter, but you can find people inside the university to run it for you, and you can help them and support them. Absolutely. If you want to spin up 6 universities and you can find 6 students that are from that specific university to run it, then 100% yes, absolutely, that'll be great. And then you can channel your speakers to these different universities, you know, and as they get going, they will get more connected with more and more speakers.
I think this is a really good format to try and at least get them going so they get the hang of things, to sort of mentor them into the process. I actually have a base in the university for startup grind operations, but we don't do events there because our university is a startup. So there's only about 200, and they're more like professional development students at this point. But I am hoping to launch U there, a startup grind U, when they have more sort of younger student base. So I definitely think they would need that mentorship to sort of get themselves to a place where they'd be confident in running. But again, you know, my city is 30,000 people, so it's very easy for me to sort of control that. I would be an X if I hadn't started before it existed, but I don't want to.
Exactly, but you're running such a great chapter. You see, guys, 30,000 people in this city, and she's getting 100 people. Or how many? Getting 80 people to events, 100 people to events.
Okay, so this year it has fizzled a little, I'll be honest. So don't get, you know, super excited. I do have months where we can get 80 people because just there's not much else going on, and we are really prominent in the community. But you know, as time goes by, more things emerge, more meetups, more groups, more conferences, and I've struggled this year, so I'm going to be honest with you, but my last event, we had about 50 people. So,
50.
And that was Monday. It was Monday this week, so I was really happy to pick it up again.
Well, I can tell you that there's a lot bigger cities getting less than that. So well done, Denise, well done. Okay. Yes, Augustine.
Yeah. Related to the Startup U, will there be a special segment on the Startup Grant webpage that will deal with the Startup U? You know,
we are working on having an application page, but the actual where the events are hosted and everything will be the same Startup Grind. Just that the event type will be a different event type, so the branding will be different for the events. But the actual chapter pages and everything will be exactly the same. It'll just be called Startup Grind and U. You know, they'll add the U in and stuff. Yeah. So, but we haven't got a dedicated page or anything for them yet. But we're working on that.
Is there a PDF or something we can use to send to,
if you go to startupgrind.com/start to apply, you know where you're going to apply, and you follow that link, you'll see that on that page, when you follow that link, it takes you to startupgrindapp.com. And on that page is a link that says chapter types. And it details all the chapter types and what's the differences and what's happening, etc. But it's not the greatest user interface. So we are fixing that, but for now, that's the best page that we have.
Okay, thank you.
No, pleasure. Also, just a reminder, for Startup Grind, for the SG Women, for the Female Founders Month, we've got some amazing Canva art assets. So it's all in help.startupgrind.com. And then nice, Canva is really, really easy to use. you can literally drag and drop. And on the help.solidground.com, I've shown a little video of how you can work with the Canva art assets, and you can create some really great art assets with free software that's online and allows you to do what you need to do. And obviously, for those that don't have access to the internet or something, we've got other options, Photoshop and Illustrator files, which you guys can use, which does require graphic design, I know. Not everybody has Photoshop or Illustrator, but at least maybe you've got a friend or something, or somebody on Fiverr or on Upwork or something that can help you manage that if you don't want to do the Canva route. Okay, but Canva is really easy. You can even do it on your phone. You can manage the whole thing on your phone. There's a very great app for your phone that you can use. Okay, all the links and everything are in help.solidground.com. If you ever need help with anything, go to help.solidground.com and do a search. You'll find most things there. Otherwise, do email Ford, and Bruce and Yella will be getting back to you as they are managing Ford at the moment. Okay, any other questions? Anything else you guys want to discuss? Any tips and tricks? Any troubles? Anything? We've got like 10 minutes left. Anything, anyone?
Hey, again.
Yes.
So it's not so much a question, it's more of an offer. So what we have been doing lately is from the different assets that you upload, like for example, for SG Women or even London, I'm kind of downloading the photos and kind of messing with them to make other things. So like we have created some, well, in my taste, quite nice proposals and some PDFs that we are sending to people to try to get partners and sponsors and that. So I was thinking of sharing that in the Slack group in case someone else needs it, but I cannot upload PDFs there. So I'm just saying that I have some resources.
Okay.
I don't know. I tried from my phone and I couldn't because I have one for women.
The Slack in Africa is terrible, so don't worry about it. Just drop an email with the stuff, and then we'll upload it and put it in and everything. But thank you, that's very nice. If you guys do have any resources or anything, please do send it to us. That's
another thing I wanted to suggest for Slack. Like, I think it would make sense if we created like a resources channel where if we have useful stuff for the whole network, we can share with each other, like either opportunities or even useful articles. Or like one thing that we notice here is people don't know how to pitch. So we are kind of trying to help with that. So we are looking for resources on that. And actually, I think it was from Houston, I found something. So since different chapters have different things, like for me, it would make sense if we can share that somehow with each other.
For sure. Okay, so with Slack, we have got a channel called SG Connect. I don't know if you guys are on that, SG Connect. And that is a channel that's open to anybody. Literally anybody in the world can join that Slack channel. And that is a great channel for you to upload files that you want to share with your community. In other words, not Startup Grind related files. Stuff that's for directors, that's in the directors channel, which you guys are in. But if it's stuff like, for example, pitch decks or other resources or something, please put them into SG Connect and share them with the people in there. I can easily create a resources channel. And then also creating a resources channel in Startup Grind, we can definitely do that. No, definitely that you guys can share stuff. Yes, Bruce.
One more thing to remember is with your @startupgrind.com email account that we create for you, you also get unlimited or storage on Google Drive. So just like you'd go to mail.google.com to access the email account, once you've logged in, you can go to drive.google.com. And for those documents and things that you've got, for example, you can actually upload it there and then generate a public link that you can share on Slack to the directors. So it's a nice way that you can upload, control the content how you want it in your Drive, and then still share it with everyone. You don't actually have to upload it directly into Slack. So that's another option we can try as well.
Yeah, that's actually a good option. Okay, that's quite good. We should do that. Because Slack is full with files, and they're blocking the files now, so we don't have a paid account. So that is actually a great way. Thanks, Bruce. Okay, that's very cool. Thank you, Ariana. Yeah, but if you please do email us, and we can try and work out some stuff and create some channels and that. If you guys want any other channels in the Slack group, please, let us know. We can create it and maintain it and everything. And then also please chat on SG Connect and get your community on there. Start sharing and connecting. I've got a lot of South Africans in there. There's a South Africa channel, there's an Africa channel, there's a European channel, there's lots of different stuff there. So get in there, chat with them, invite people to the conferences, etc., etc. Okay, cool. Anything else? These are some great ideas.
I have one question actually. I was going to ask that in the Slack group, but since we're here, it's more of to anyone. So there are some occasions here where people have indicated interest to sponsor us, but either they cannot pay online or they will not pay internationally. They prefer to pay a domestic company.
Yes.
And we have our own company which we can use to intermediate that. But if anyway we give them a receipt from the company, then the company will have to pay tax. So, which is about 30% here. So if 20% goes to Google and 30% goes to the tax, that's a big percentage. So I wanted to ask if any of you guys had that issue and how you handled it. Like, how can we go around it somehow? I don't know. Any good suggestions?
Does anybody have any answers to this? Beth, yes. Wait, we just unmute you.
Hi. Okay. Hi, everyone. I think you can pay the 20% of your profit, not of the entire sponsorship. Like after you paid tax and all that in your own respective country, then the 20% of what's remaining, then you can pay it to the chapter. I don't know if that can work.
That makes sense, but that means that the invoice will have to say a different amount, because we also have to generate an invoice from the grind system. And I think the percentage goes from the invoice. So how, like
20% is 20% of full, it's full sponsorship, Beth. It's not just 20% of profits. It's 20% of the full sponsorship. Okay. 20% goes to HQ. It doesn't go to Google, by the way, Rihanna. It goes to Grant. And we are a Google for Entrepreneurs partner. So when you host an event, you are hosting a Google for Entrepreneurs event because we're a partner of them. And the 20% comes to us as HQ, which helps us manage the community and pays for all these tools and pays for your email addresses and your meetup accounts and because every single solitary startup grind email costs us $5. We've got over 500 email addresses, so you can work out our monthly costs that goes into this. Regarding the sponsorship, the best way, regarding the tax, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. If they pay directly to our offline or to that link that's in the invoice, then there's no tax because we as HQ handle the rest of the tax stuff and it gets paid directly to us, so we sort that out. And then we pay you back the money to your Payoneer card or your Payoneer bank account. If you want to bring that, so what I do, okay, so I can tell you, what I do is I've got the Payoneer card, not the bank. It doesn't go straight to my bank account, it goes to my Payoneer card, which works here in South Africa, it works anywhere around the world. It's a UK-based, UK or America-based card. And what it allows me to do is I can literally walk into a grocery store and swap my card to buy groceries. Or I can buy airplane tickets. And I buy Spotify because Spotify was blocked in South Africa, so I was able to pay for Spotify with that card. Now Spotify is in South Africa, but still I can pay with that card. So it's a nice way to keep the money off onto that other entity where you don't have to pay tax on that yet, unless you declare it to the taxman, obviously. But the best way is to create your own. You've got your own entity. If they don't want to pay our URL, our account directly, they're going to have to pay you. You are going to have to sort out how the taxes work. I know in some countries, as a small business, you only pay a very limited amount of tax if it's a small business account. In other countries, it's a lot higher. And then the 20% that is allocated on the invoice from that invoice, you can pay us. You can either then pay that amount, the card, or we can try and figure out a way to get that 20% from you. Okay.
Can I just jump in as well, real quick? So obviously not an accountant, so this is not accountant advice, but a company's tax is obviously paid on profits. I think was it Beth who was saying this. So
Yeah.
If you get $1,000, for example, you're going to have expenditure on that $1,000, so you'd only be paying your 30% tax on the profit after all your expenditure. So 20% is an expenditure that goes to HQ, leaves you $800. If it costs you $700 to run your event, you're going to remain with $100 profit, gross profit. So your tax will be $30 if it's 30% on that. So what you may want to do in your case is just keep very, very accurate records of all your expenditure, of what it costs you to run your event. And then whatever is your net profit after that is what you'll be taxed on. Because if your event basically doesn't make a profit, you're not going to pay any tax, or shouldn't pay any tax. You don't pay taxes on losses. But again, I'm not an accountant, but that's just kind of standard practice all around.
Yeah. Thank you, Finn. There we go. That's your answer. Okay. Just find out, please chat with your accountants, definitely, because anything I say, and as Finn says, anything we say, we're not accountants, we don't know your country, we don't know your taxes, but you check your accountant. But as Finn says, that is the most likely amount. And I think that's what most of the chapters do, is they, they only show their actual profits and stuff. Okay. Cool, EO. It's right, 1 minute to 11, spot on time. One last question, if anybody has one. Any other questions? Roop, welcome.
Hi, I've managed to completely miss the actual time this was on and joined, I think, when you guys are finishing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But don't worry, we've got another one. Speaking
I know,
of, we've got office hours 2 and office hours 3 coming up. You're more than welcome to join those. We will be covering very much the same of this, but Christy will be running it, so she will have different other information, and then mostly the same kind of information. So, yeah. What time is it there, Roop?
So it is 7 p.m. It's my mistake. It's the calendar and everything was fine. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's all good. It's all good.
We have daylight savings sometimes, and anyway, I started up.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
hi everyone.
Australian,
yeah.
Right? Australian. So welcome from Australia.
Yeah, down under. What do you expect?
Upside down. And I'm seeing some really great chatter, some great events coming through. We really appreciate all the hard work that goes into it. We know you guys are slaving over the stuff. We know it's not easy. And yeah, thank you very, very much. Okay, so regarding the live stream, we as Startup Grind are going to be doing some Startup Grind live streaming. So you can join us. We're going to be doing one of Bitcoin, and we're going to be hopefully doing one for Female Founders Month. It's in the agenda. We've got if you go to Help Scout and you search game plan in Help Us Startup Grind, you'll see our agenda of what we're going to do for this year, our game plan for the year, and then you can feel free. So there's 2 options. You can either host a small conference yourself, or a small event, and then live streaming what we're going to be live streaming, that speaker. So it allows you to not have to find a speaker for that month. Or maybe you could do it as a second event if you've already got a speaker or something. So that's one way of being part of the live streaming. The other option regarding live streaming, if you want to live stream yourself, you may do so. We just use YouTube to live stream. You can also use Zoom if you want to, or Facebook is a great tool for live streaming. It really gets a lot of people through your Facebook page. So that is the other option of live streaming if you want to do it yourself. And then if you want to get if you want to get involved, like for example, you want to mix 2 chapters together. We've done this once or twice before. It's just that both venues have to be really well connected and well set up. But you can actually have 2 chapters streaming to each other at the same time. That's another option you guys can do. It's quite nice to have like twin chapter, somebody in your same time zone to make it easier, and then you can live stream the content across between the 2 people. So that is another option that you can do. But just I don't know what other what are you thinking with the question? I got you. Like we did for Gakosaki, yes, interesting name. Okay. Okay, for one of your speakers. Okay, so you want to have one that is actually pushed out globally from your chapter, for example. Okay. Yeah. If the speaker is a seriously like a Guy Kawasaki level speaker, then we would consider doing it. Otherwise, we are happy to do it yourself, and then we as Startup Grind can market this and everything, but it won't be through our official Startup Grind YouTube live page. We could maybe do it on a YouTube local page or on Facebook or something. Very happy to work with you guys on that. Very open to any ideas to do that. Really, I think it's really cool, but it won't be like an official SG Live event unless it's a really big speaker, because it has to be applicable globally, obviously. Okay, does that answer the question? Cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, yes, Deanna. Let me just unmute you now.
If you are not using live stream but are recording, I have several people from different places in the world that record theirs, and then and it's better if you write something up, but they write something up and then I publish it on the regular Startup Grind channel, and then also syndicate over to Medium, which then you are getting something that shows your people in your area, which we are getting a lot of great response from those. And so if you want to record it yourself, write something up about what happened, it will get interest for your area. If you would like to do that, I'll go through your things and I can help. If it doesn't fit one time, it might fit the next time. I can help you with that. So anyway, interested in that, happy to do that for you.
Okay, great. So can I reach out to you, Deanna, about that?
Yes, absolutely. So it's just Deanna at Startup Grind. Send those there. And then we'll decide how to do that. But yes, several people do that. Look through and see like Shahar's. Anyway, those are the same thing. He's done that from his event. So happy to do that. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Deanna. It's actually a good point to tell everybody that if you do want to get your event, featured on Startup Grind, just write a really nice article about it. Not like a
no sales.
Yeah, no sales or spammy or like just a nice, well-written article showing content and showing and highlighting certain sections in the talk. Because oftentimes people miss, because it's such a long form, it's an hour long. Maybe for 10 minutes, he spoke about an incredible section of, something really groundbreaking or something super interesting or an amazing story or something that's really cool and you want to highlight that. And write an article about that and link it to where it starts on that video, and that'll be a great way for you to feature your stuff, your chapter on our global community and focus and reach out to your local community and share it amongst your local community and show how you're on the global Startup Grind page, etc., etc. Okay, cool. Thanks, Deanna, for that. That's great. Okay, cool. Any other questions or any other things you guys want to know? Great stuff. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a nice time, G. See you in London.
Yes, thanks, Niels. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Randy.